Hello and welcome to Pig Cow Gaming's Halo 2 LASO Co-op guide. Today we'll be running through Metropolis, which is also one of the easier missions, like Outskirts before it. Now, let's get right into it. When you spawn in, immediately exchange your SMG for this Marine's rocket launcher. You'll need it later for a grenade rocket launcher jump to skip a couple of areas. After that, head over to the barrier and smack it for a layer overshoot with the black eye skull. You can smack another barrier for a double overshoot if you wish, but I'm content with just the one. Next, get into the driver's seat of the Warthog and pick up the Marines. You don't really need them, but it's good to have some company and quality dialogue courtesy of the I would have been your daddy skull. I'll be driving across the bridge and ignoring every single enemy, while my partner Bob stays behind the tank and takes out ghosts if any of them get too close. Once you're ready, just step on the gas and break on through to the other side regardless of how much damage you take. You might not always succeed, but since this is the start of the mission, it isn't too painful to try it again. The ghosts usually come at you from the middle, so keeping left is usually the safe option, but sometimes they don't act accordingly, so in this run I pretty much swerved around and tried not to get hit. By the way, I noticed that the previous two videos had quite a bit of dead air in them, so I'll try to add some additional commentary to prevent those long periods of silence. I'm not exactly an expert in that regard, so do tell me in the comment section what you think about it, if I'm speaking too much, too muffled or whatever, so I can improve on these videos. When the music starts playing, I believe the Phantoms and Banshees spawn in, and you can sometimes get bombarded by them, as Silver did in one of his deathless LASO runs, though I had personally never experienced that before. There's honestly nothing you can do about them, so just keep zigzagging left and right if that happens. Whatever you do, just don't ever stop the Warthog or you'll be a sitting duck for all those enemy vehicles out there. Even when you reach the tunnel, it is still too early to relax because there are some enemies behind the van. Drive past them as fast as you can and pray that you don't get stuck. It should be pretty safe once you reach this spot, so you can leave the Warthog and get some of your shields back. Hitting these barrels is a quick way of getting shields, but you can also hit the vehicles sitting around. But just like in the previous mission, you need to hit them one more time after they explode. Now, we just wait for an allied Warthog to appear, and once that happens, all enemies on the bridge will despawn, and Bob can drive the tank over. However, that will take a few minutes, so you can spend the time helping out the Marines to the Jackals that spawn ahead. The Marines themselves aren't so important, but having a fresh Warthog is definitely nice, so spare no effort in defending the Warthog. Sometimes you don't kill the Jackals and sort of knock them over to the next area, but you don't need to chase them. That's what the tank is for. Anyway, it does take quite a long time for the tank to get here, so I'll fast forward to the next bit when I've already gotten into the tank. To get the tank into the next area, drive up the ramp and rotate to the left such that the right side of the tank goes up and you should be able to squeeze it through the gap. Now, I'll fast forward through this bit since it's just me going to town on all the enemies with the Scorpion. A really cool thing about this is that you can see the minigun rounds which can help you aim the cannon. Do take note that there are two Spec Ops elites hiding behind the white container. It is quite easy to assassinate both of them because they are facing the wrong direction, and you can see Bob do exactly that on the right, making good use of the Sputnik skull. While you're quite safe in the tank, a plasma grenade could absolutely ruin your day, so beware of those grunts and kill them as fast as you can. A few waves of enemies will keep coming, and you can tell when the last wave has arrived when an elite runs over bringing a sword to a tank fight. Only after you have dealt with him can you safely step out of your vehicle. Here I skipped a hit after bashing some vehicles for shields and picking up a beam rifle off the ground. There is a Jackal sniper on the other side of the door, so go down to road level and slowly peek up to snipe him down. Now, you can grab a fresh beam rifle from the weapons crate, which is supposed to be here but was moved by an explosion, so I got a little confused here. Anyway, make sure that you have a beam rifle and a rocket launcher. Once you have gotten your desired weapons and double overshoot, get the Warthog into this area. It is quite easy to do so, and drive it through the door following the path. The Warthog is not entirely necessary and acts more of a failsafe because multiplayer Halo can sometimes be quite wonky. More on that later. Anyway, drive to the end of the tunnel and you'll get a much needed checkpoint. Now we will do what I like to call a buddy jump to get over the wall. Bob stands in the corner and I get on top of his head. Next, both of us jump up and down, and eventually I jump on his head while he's at the peak of his jump, allowing me to get over the wall. This saves a grenade jump, which would remove one layer of shield. After that, walk over to this wall and switch to the rocket launcher. Throw a grenade to the right, jump as it explodes, and shoot a rocket. The combined explosion should get you over the wall at the cost of 2 layers of shield. As you can see, it looks way too weird on updated graphics, so I would recommend switching to the old graphics at this point. Anyway, walk forward to the edge of this platform. You can't see the platform in question, but you can estimate it by looking at where the floor below starts. Wait there for the scarab to approach. When it is close enough, get a running start and jump onto the head of the scarab. Go over to the gun at the front and start beating it up for shields. Since we saved on one grenade jump earlier, you only need one additional layer of overshoot for the next grenade rocket launcher jump. If you do the BXB combo here, you can have enough time to hit the gun in the back, but that is unnecessary. Whatever you do, get to the bottom layer of the scarab as soon as you can, because the scarab will despawn and you will die to the 4th timer if you are standing too far from the ground below. After you hit the ground, follow the path and get behind some semi-spherical structure. Doing so gets you a checkpoint, spawns in the enemies in the area below, and despawns the enemies in the area where Bob is hiding at. Well, sometimes anyway. As I mentioned earlier, multiplayer can get quite wonky and despawn points don't always work like in single player. That's where the Warthog comes in. If enemies somehow don't despawn in the first area, Bob can pass by speeding through on the Warthog. Now we want to get up this wall. Like with earlier, grenade to the right, rocket to the left, or the other way around really, and you should be able to easily get up there. Here I check for enemies below and if there's a safe path down from this spot, but you'll have to jump to the left here. You might die a few times during this entire sequence, especially with the grenade rocket launcher jumps, but you'll get it eventually. I've been watching LASO Deathless runs, and there's supposed to be another way to despawn the enemies in the first area without doing a single grenade launcher jump, but I couldn't get it to work on multiplayer. Perhaps I could do a follow-up video on that sometime in the future. I get a little lost up here, but you want to go to the second opening and drop down to the road. However, it is quite a distance, so you'll need to fall to a platform on the left to avoid dying to the 4th timer. There should be no enemies in this area, and there are plenty of vehicles to hit for shields. Once you have stocked up on overshield, follow the road and you'll see a couple of wraiths bombarding the building that the Marines are in. You could do this later, but I like to use the beam rifle to kill 2 Jackal snipers so I don't forget later on. It's a lot easier to see their heads on old graphics, so I recommend only switching back to the updated graphics after you've dealt with them. Also, you'll want to be careful since the last checkpoint was at the semi-spherical structure, and you'll need to do the second jump again if you die here. After taking care of the Jackal snipers, or if you decide to leave them for later, head for the door with the waterfall, which is how we were supposed to reach this section to get a checkpoint. The first thing you'll notice is that an allied Warthog and an enemy ghost spawn in. Also, the enemies in the section right behind despawn, so Bob can head over with the Warthog. If they don't despawn properly, he has 2 options: rush right through, or stay put and wait for the next load zone, which I believe is right before the Scarab fight. Anyway, back to the fight in front of us. The Marines and the Warthog can see the ghost initially because the camo from the Assassin's Skull takes a couple of seconds to start working upon spawn. But if the elite in the ghost isn't damaged for a while, camo starts working and the allies won't be able to see the ghost at all even though the vehicle itself is not invisible. And if they can't see the ghost, they won't shoot at it, so keep putting damage into it as often as you can. You'll get a lot more rocket ammo later on, so just fire away with everything you have, and the Warthog will eventually destroy the ghost and kill the elite. If you ever get damaged, there are vehicles and even Marines to get your shields back. When the deed is done, gather the Marines and the Warthog. If their Warthog is somehow destroyed, there's still Bob's spare Warthog at the back. We'll be taking a little tour through the city. I'm not sure what exactly following this path does, but allied reinforcements don't arrive later for some reason if I don't, so here we are. Seems like there aren't any parking lots in the city, so we'll just leave the Warthog here, right in front of this wraith. The idea is to get all the Marines killed so that reinforcements come in. Sometimes the Rays don't notice, so you have to get their attention with a grenade or a rocket. Boy, look at that Marine go. Once you've gotten your friends killed, run to a safe spot where the Rays can't hit you and just wait. I cut out the bit where I kill a Marine hiding in the corner, but just note that 3 Marines need to die in this section. Here you can see the allied reinforcements come in, but you don't need to do anything yet, just wait for the firing to stop. After about a minute, the allies win and the enemy Rays magically vanish. You can now move into the building for the final Scarab fight.
Head for their command post.
I cut out all the walking, so here we are at the last bit of the mission. There are frag grenades as well as rocket launcher and battle rifle ammo scattered by the boxes on the outer edge, so pick up as much as you can carry. There are even some sniper rifles if you want, but I think they are pretty useless because it takes way too many shots to kill an elite. The best strategy here is to bombard them so hard with explosions that they fall off the Scarab. Why deal with shields when you can just make them fall to their deaths? You can start blasting them off at the beginning, but it's quite difficult since the Scarab is moving and it causes the upper platform to shake around, so I will wait until it reaches the end of the road. Anyway, let's skip ahead again since we need to wait for the Scarab to reach this spot, but I've also been busy setting a barricade of sorts with some boxes that were lying around.
Can't go any further this way. We have it trapped.
As you can see, this comes in really helpful as I can hide behind the boxes and peek around the side to fire off some rockets. Since you want to propel the enemies off the sides of the Scarab, don't aim the rocket launcher at the enemies themselves, but at the ground. Try not to take too much damage at this point because you'll still need to board the Scarab and fight a few enemies inside, and there aren't many objects for you to get your shields back from. Sometimes, elites like to hide in the middle part of the Scarab, which is protected by 2 walls on either side, but that's where teamwork comes into play. You can grenade them out their hiding spot, then blast them with consecutive rockets to score over. After killing all the enemies on the top deck, you'll get a checkpoint and you'll need to board the Scarab. If you are short on shields, you can hit the Scarab guns or the Marine ally assuming you survive. Once you're ready, hit down and you will see a few grunts and 2 elites. This fight is pretty simple. First kill the grunts, then go for the elites. Unfortunately, Bob has to hit both guns to get his shields back, so I try to thin the crowd while waiting for it. Here, I try to bait one of the elites into charging my position because it is quite easy to assassinate them while they are turning the corner, but based on personal experience, they hardly charge ahead. Well, it was worth a shot. Anyway, now that Bob is here, we can just tag team the 2 elites and backsmack them to end the mission.
Careful, Pete. That elite was an ultra, and those pilots are no pushovers either.
While Cortana advises us to be careful of those recently deceased elites, we have come to the end of the video. Please leave a like if you found it helpful and do give some comments so I can improve on these guides. I hope to see you in the next video where you'll finally be playing as the Arbiter in the Arbiter.